Welcome to the Veterans Online Summit. My name is Larry Peacock, and I am the host of the summit. And it's going to be completely free this weekend. So definitely watch all the videos. The schedule is up. If you look on my Facebook profile for Larry Peacock, the complete schedule is up for the Veterans Online Summit. So definitely take notes while you're watching all the speakers. Each of the speakers present a different online business model. And that was the purpose of the summit, is just to kind of expose you to all the business models for starting an online business. If you want all-time access, like an all-access pass that you can watch the videos at any time you want after this weekend, you can upgrade to that pass at veteransonlinesummit.com. We'll also be providing workbooks that will correlate to each of the interviews that will help you dive more into that. As far as our Facebook group, look for Funnel Vets, FUNNELVETS, Funnel Vets on Facebook. All right. I hope you guys have a great time. Thank you so much for joining us at the Veterans Online Summit, and I'll see you on the high ground. Wake up, you. Hello, my fellow veterans. Good morning to you all. I got my good friend here, James Friel. How are you doing, sir?
Amazing. It's great to be here, Larry. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you so much, sir. And, I connected with you at Funnel Hacking Live in Nashville last month. And here we are again at the interview for the Veterans Online Summit. So, sir, again, I sincerely appreciate you, and I appreciate you taking your time to talk with us, sir.
Well, I appreciate you, Larry, and I appreciate all the people that you're bringing to this summit to listen. I've never had military experience myself, but I'm a very grateful citizen, and so taking the time out to help with what you're doing, I think it's so incredibly important. It's my pleasure. It's an honor to be here.
Awesome. And sir, this is how I connected with you. When I had this concept for the Veterans Summit, I went on to the ClickFunnels group, and I said to everybody, I said, I want to interview somebody who is good with, systems, creating systems and structure. And sir, your name was brought up a million times. Everybody else said one person, but then all the other people said your name over and over. I was like, this is the guy. So here you are, sir.
That's amazing. Yeah.
If you could talk a little bit about yourself and kind of just give us an idea of what you do there.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I've realized that really either stops people from achieving the level of success that they want or helps them get it faster comes down to two things. And I'll get to the first one in a minute, but on systems, one of the things is it's structure. Right? Everybody needs structure in which to thrive. And, Larry, you understand, and all the people listening to this, all the veterans here understand the importance of structure, right? The military is built on structure, and people understand, where they need to be and when they need to be there and what they need to do when they get there. And all of that is important because as human beings, we thrive in an environment where we know what we're supposed to be doing and everything. And when you're building a business, that structure is not there, right? It's not like you're starting something, right? And there's no structure. It's just an idea. An idea doesn't have structure. And so what happens with a lot of entrepreneurs, and this happened to myself years ago as well, and this kind of how I got down this road, is, you're starting to build something, you start getting some success, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh man, I'm making money, but now I have people that are paying, and I have bills that I got to pay, and I got customers, and I got all these things, and all of a sudden that thing that was an idea that took off and was successful and started making you money now is causing you new problems.
Oh wow!
And so the thing that that I really help people with, even at the early stages of their growth, is how do you put simple structure and simple systems in place so that you're not feeling overwhelmed by all the different things that have to be done, but there's a way to get them done, right? You couldn't possibly run the military with one guy who's just trying to keep track of everything in his head. That wouldn't work. And running a business is no different. You can't keep track of those things in your head. So that's one of the areas that I really focus on.
Oh, that's amazing. And you relate that, man, relating that to the military is That's a great idea. And we really do know that well. The military is extremely structured, and so that is our mindset. And as you say, for the transitioning military veterans, when they get out of the service, it kind of, there's this moment of chaos, and the unknown. And so you really hit the nail on the head there, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the other things I think is important, and maybe we can get into this as well. So I said there's two things, right? Structure was the second one. The first one is identity.
Yeah.
Again, back to the military. In the military, you have a very clear identity, right? Like, what's your rank? What branch of the military are you in? What do you do? What's your job? Like, all that sort of stuff. And then when you get out, you're like, well, what's my identity? And you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And you gotta figure it out. And the thing about the difference is, in the military, that identity is sort of like given to you and you adopt it.
Yep.
And when you're running a business and doing many other things, you have to choose that identity.
Interesting.
Right? You have to say, okay, who do I want to be? Right. And so I think, fundamentally, very, very fundamentally, success in the online world and offline world, anywhere, really comes down to two things. It comes down to identity, and then what is the structure in which we're going to operate and run with that identity. And so hopefully we can get into that a little bit today.
Absolutely, sir. And would you say that branding has to do with that identity, sir?
Definitely. Like, we recognize Nike as a shoe company,
yes,
right?
Sir.
If Nike started making like furniture for your house, the first thing that you would say is Nike's having an identity crisis.
Yes, sir.
Right? Like, what do you do, right? That is branding is about helping to portray that identity out into the world. That's exactly what it is.
Absolutely. And so when I was at Funnel Hacking Live, this flag in the background, I brought it with me only because I thought that I was going to possibly do some interviews at the hotel at Funnel Hacking Live. And I had it in my backpack. And when I got there, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take some pictures with the speakers. And so I'd find some of the speakers that were going to speak at the summit, and I'd say, hey, let's take a picture. Then I thought, you know what? I'm going to connect with all the veterans, any veteran funnel hackers that are there. I'm going to take a picture with them. And so then it became that. I started taking these pictures. I started going all around the room. And then all of a sudden I had civilians saying, hey, can I take a picture with you? I love the flag. And all of a sudden it became my identity, and it became my branding. And now I'm like just known for, hey, that's the guy with the American flag, right?
Yep.
So that's kind of the same idea there, sir.
That's exactly right. Right. That identity is like, who are we?
Absolutely. So when you back to structures, what are some of the things that you kind of recommend that for a new entrepreneur? What are some of the things that they could begin to implement to get themselves more organized?
I think the first thing is you've got to have some personal productivity structure in place. You can't possibly be at your best for your business and for your company and the people that you're serving and that you're ultimately going to be working with and everything if you're not you don't have good personal structures in place. And so one of the things that I would say, and again, I think this is such a once you see it, probably an obvious transition from a military application to non-military, but I wake up at the same time every day, right? I have a routine in the morning. Like I meditate and then I work out. And then before I start my workday, I look at the things that I plan to do today from the night before, right? And so there's personal productivity structures that I think are really, really helpful. And having a simple morning routine that that you do keeps you focused, right? It's something that helps you get your mind right, get in the game before you start. And I think one of the things that almost everybody does that kind of slows them down is they just wing it every day. Yeah. And winging it is maybe that's, if you want to wing it and go get an adrenaline rush, go skydiving or go skiing or go do something like that, right?
Yeah.
But when we're talking about growing your business, we're talking about something that's serious, and you can have fun and you can have creativity within those structures, but you still need to show up as your best version of you.
Yeah.
And there's no way to show up as the best version of you if you're, kind of winging your routines and you're not prepared for what you're going to do that day. You don't have clear targets and clear goals for what you want to accomplish. And so I think personal productivity is like the basis before we even start talking about organizational productivity. Like, I got to show up, right? You got to show up. And so I think that's really where it begins.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And, for the veterans that are watching, they could be in their mid 30s to mid 40s roughly. And they have a lot of life ahead of them, and they have some money from the Army, from retirement and whatnot. And they may want to consider going on this entrepreneurial journey. But I could see, sir, where that would be a challenge, because then, in the military, you're used to waking up at 0400, 0500, do PT, go back, and then, get yourself ready for the day, get your uniform on. And so they have all that structure there. But then all of a sudden they retire, and now they're like, freedom, right? And you want to get into this entrepreneurial journey. And I'm just curious, of the entrepreneurs the ones that are really successful, I have heard that all the successful entrepreneurs say, wake up early, do your morning, like you'll get more done the earlier you start. Is that the case, sir?
I believe it is. And I also acknowledge that there are people who are not morning people and they're night people.
Yeah.
And so I think personally, I'm a morning guy. I like waking up early. I like, feeling like I'm getting a jump on the day.
Yeah.
I know there are people that like waking up later and then working later, and that's okay too. But I think the big point here is know what you're going to do when you wake up. I wake, just like you said in the military, right? Like 0500, I'm up, I got to go do PT. I got to go do all these things. Okay. That's awesome, right? That's the structure.
Yeah.
There's a reason that the military does that, because they know that the organization of the military cannot function at its highest level without the individual people inside of the military being at their best with their own individual structure too. Absolutely. And I think what tends to happen, like you see this all over the place, right? You see this with like rebellious teenagers. You see this, people who get out of a super structured thing and they're going out on their own. They're like, I don't want any structure anymore. It's like free for all, right?
Yeah.
And I totally get that. And at the same time, I think it's probably not the best idea to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you're already in a 20-year habit of waking up at 5 or 6 in the morning and like going and taking care of your body and structuring your day, dude, that's amazing. Like, keep that habit. That is a great habit to keep and hang on to. What you plan during your structured time is going to be completely different, because now you have more latitude and more control, and now you're kind of figuring out things on your own. But I would say a fairly accurate statement, almost every single successful entrepreneur I know has a structure to the way that they set themselves up for success. Yeah. And most of the time it happens with some really solid morning and night before routine. Absolutely.
Yeah. And the other challenge that the veterans are going to run into, especially at this age of their life, because, sir, I'm experiencing it definitely. I played basketball since I was basically in my mom's stomach. I played at a very high level and played for a really long time. And I've had those physical challenges, right? I've had, 3 knee surgeries and all that craziness. But anyway, right into my late 30s, I'm 41 now. I started, my body just physically, I just simply can't do what I used to do. And so for those veterans who have done, 20 years in the military, done the ruck marches with, 80 pounds on our back, and we just rucked so many miles, and, our feet are destroyed and our backs hurt so bad. That's another challenge that they have to consider. And so the concept of waking up early, having that structure and still doing PT, they need to maintain that. I'm talking to myself, sir. I'm talking to myself. And so that's just another challenge that life presents you that maybe you weren't expecting would happen so soon, but it's something that's going to affect them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the intensity doesn't have to be like, I got to go for, march for 80 miles or like whatever, right? The intensity could just be what you choose it to be. But the important thing is that you keep that habit of, keeping your body sharp. right?
Yeah.
Like a sharp mind and a sharp body work together, right? You need both of them, right? Like that's why we have both of them. And so whether you're doing, like all the level of intensity that you used to do, I don't know that that's required, because at that point you were like training to be prepared for a certain mission that you're no longer needing to be prepared for.
Right.
Mission that you're training to be prepared for now is that you got to keep your mind sharp, and you got to be in the best, physical state that you can be to get the maximum out of yourself. And so while that doesn't require the same like grueling PT that probably was required in the military, it still requires something to keep yourself on point.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that. So let's talk about, for a new entrepreneur, things that they could do to automate their business and make their life a little easier for them as they're getting into it.
Yeah. So one of the first things that will happen for most people is they'll have a lot of ideas, and they'll start trying to figure out, well, which idea should I work on?
Yeah.
And then they start working on an idea, and then they're going to hit some sort of resistance, and then they're going to say, oh, maybe this wasn't the best idea. Maybe I should go pick out of one of those other million ideas I had. And sometimes changing your course is necessary, but many times, no matter what idea you're going to be working on, you're going to encounter that resistance at some point anyway. So it's important to sort of like get that mindset, right? So there's the personal productivity, then there's the mindset that, when you're building a business, you want to see signs of success, obviously, but those signs of success are going to come over time, and it's going to compound on some of the things that you're doing. So I think setting expectations is incredibly important about here's an example. So last year at FHL, Russell asked me to come up on stage and talk about one of the funnels that I was working on.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people believe people who are great at things are just great at things, and they don't see all of the challenge and the struggle and everything else, right? It's like, but the truth is everybody has these challenges and these struggles. And, I've had the chance to, work with Russell a lot on a bunch of different things, and he'll launch something and it doesn't work immediately. And then he'll go and he'll fix it and he'll change it until it starts working. And I think, so he had me come on stage because I had a funnel. I now have an award for it. But when I first launched it, nothing happened. And I thought I had it right. And I've been in like this game for a little while, right? And I launched and I was like, nothing happened. And I messaged him and he's like, dude, you got to look at this page and this page, and you got this difference and this difference. And I went through with like a fine-tooth comb, and I made sure every little thing was the same. And then sales started coming in, right? And now we're crushing it. But if you believe that the first thing out of the gate is just going to like take off like a rocket ship, that's going to set the wrong expectation. And then you're going to think that you failed when you didn't fail, right? The only time that you fail is when you stop, right?
That. Yeah, say that again, sir. That's a true statement, and I say it to my vets that I've been working with. I said, you just don't quit, right? You're going to experience hardship in this, absolutely, but the worst thing you could do is obviously quit.
Yeah. So anyway, so you asked about automation.
Yes.
And so mindset's important going into this, but one of the things that will happen is you'll start to accumulate lots of different ideas and lots of different tasks and lots of different things that need to be done. It's important that you start putting systems in place to make it easier for you to get those things done. As soon as you identify that those things need to be done, the system doesn't need to be complicated. And so I didn't talk about my background a whole lot, but before I started running my own companies, I've been running on my own several companies now for almost 8 years. And I had 10 years in the corporate world. So I had,
oh, wow.
big giant corporations, one of the biggest companies in the world. I had a senior position there, and I left and I started my own consulting agency, and we did great, right? We had a lot of sales, but I wasn't sleeping, and I was like stuck, like working in the business. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm making all this money, but like there's just chaos everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I was, I have a background in systems and engineering and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, I got to figure this out, how to pull myself out of this, because if I continue like this, I'm either going to burn out or I'm just not going to want to keep going, because like nobody wants to just keep working 80-hour weeks. Like you could do that anywhere. Why take on the financial risk and the stress and all that other stuff? Yeah. And so, so one of the things that I made a big mistake on was I just started hiring people. I was like, okay, I'm making money. I just need to hire people to help me. And then I wound up firing most of them. Oh, and I was like, all right, well, that sucked. And I didn't really like that feeling. And I'm sure they didn't like it either, right? And then I started looking at all these different tools to help, like project management tools and different things like, you know, Trello and Basecamp and Asana and all these things that on their sales pages say, hey, you just like sign up for this and life's going to feel organized and it's going to be amazing, right? And I was like, wait a second, this isn't exactly working out. And so I was like, what is the problem here? And the problem really came down to not understanding what a system was. Okay. And not thinking about it big enough, because I was like, oh, a system must be like this app or this software tool or whatever. And the fundamental thing that a system is, it's a combination of people and processes and tools. Okay. And it's those three things. And if you want to create any system anywhere in your business, whether it's a little bit manual or it's automated, it has to have those three components to it. Okay. Right? Who is the person, right? Who are the people? And at the beginning, the people is going to be you. Okay. And that's okay. But it's like, okay, I'm the people here. What's the process? What is the process that I'm going through to do the thing? And what tools are helping me? And no matter what level of complexity you get, if you feel overwhelmed or you feel like you're not getting kind of the traction and you're doing too much, it always comes down to people, process, tools, and how do we build those systems? Wow. Because systems in business are what give us leverage, and that's the thing that helps us replace ourselves in that particular area of the business, because we cannot grow a business if we're doing everything ourselves. But we also have to make sure that when we bring people on, there's a process for them to plug into and there's tools for them to use in order for that thing to actually work.
Dude, that's good stuff, man. I've heard so much about you, and I've always been like kind of curious. I'm like, man, what is he gonna say? What is he gonna talk about? That's just so like, and that was it, man. That was it. Like, that's amazing. Oh man. So now, say you're not necessarily a new entrepreneur, but you're starting to get into this, and you were saying about the people could be started off to be you. But when you're starting to branch out, you may need to find what we call the who, trying to find people that can do something better than you. That way it makes your life a little bit easier. Who do you start to kind of reach out to kind of build that team? Who are the core people that you look for?
So there's going to be some common themes there. Okay. But the first thing you should look at is, so you got to start top down. Okay. And I have this idea called the Big Five. Okay. And the Big Five is like your vision for your role inside of the company. Okay. And everybody has, we don't have nearly enough time for me to get into this, but everybody has superpowers and kryptonite. Okay. Yep. There's something that you're really, really good at. And then there's stuff that you totally suck at.
Yeah.
And that, like, just being cool with that is a big win, right? I know for fact there's a whole bunch of things that I'm not good at, right? And don't ask me to do them because I'll feel weird about doing them.
Yeah.
Not create a great result. And I'm just going to be like, oh, like, is that good? Like, I don't know if that's good or not, right? But get me in my zone of genius and I'm like, yeah, let's do this, right? And it's the same for you and it's the same for everybody else. So understanding your zone of genius and understanding what your kryptonite is really, really important. So that's like the first thing. The second thing is I'll share a story with you because I think this illustrates the point. So in college, I was a delivery driver for Papa John's. Okay. Right? I was driving around delivering pizza.
Making the money.
Yeah, dude, I swear to God, it was like I had the most fun delivering pizza. Like I, stopped by the store, looked at the thing, grabbed the pizza, got in my car. I was listening to Tony Robbins. I was listening to all these like books on tape, like everything was a blast. And so I just spent the whole day just driving around, listening to all this amazing stuff. And everybody's happy to see the pizza guy. Like you get there and it's like, oh, the pizza guy's here, right? So everyone's happy to see you.
Inviting you in.
Yeah, so like, yeah, do you want some? Oh, sure, like I'll have a piece, right? So it was fantastic. So, but at the time, with tips and everything, let's just round it off. Like, let's say I was making $10 an hour, okay? And now I'm years later, all this experience, running my own companies, all this other stuff. Let's say that, I'm making $1,000 an hour as an entrepreneur, okay? And tomorrow, what would happen if tomorrow I woke up and I said, you know what, Larry, I miss delivering pizza. Like, I just miss it. Like, it was just so much fun. I'm going to just not run my companies today, and I'm going to go deliver pizza just because I want to, right? And everyone's going to be like, what? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, no, like, I really like delivering pizza. So I'll go deliver pizza, and I'll work a 10-hour day, and I make $100, right? $10 an hour times 10 hours, $100. If I had just stayed in my businesses at $1,000 an hour and I worked those 10 hours, I would make $10,000. So I got to ask you, like, when I went to take my crazy idea and go deliver pizza for Papa John's today, how much money did I make? I didn't. Like, they would have handed me $100, but that means I lost $9,900.
Yeah.
Right?
That'd be insane.
The point of this is, anytime you can put your time to better use, you need to find somebody who can fulfill the other things that you were doing. And when you're hiring people, you're not paying them for their time.
Okay.
You're buying back your own.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's what's really happening there. And when you're asking, like, what roles should we bring in? Well, I want to take a look at all the things that I'm doing and say, okay, where are the things that are the highest and best value of my time, right? Like my big five, like the 5 things that I know I should be doing. What's on that list that I'm currently doing that doesn't align with that big 5? Now I want to start finding people to take those things.
Okay.
And this is not an immediate process. I think one of the big things that trips a lot of entrepreneurs up is the second they feel busy and overwhelmed, they're like, oh, I'm going to just hire this person and just like, whoop, like take everything off of my plate. And I don't think that really ever, that might happen in like Disney movies because they're like fairy tales, right? But like in the real world, you need to make sure that you're clear on what you're handing off to that person. And one person may not be able to do everything, but start taking those things off of your plate that are the pizza delivery tasks for you.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You have enormous capability when you're growing a company and when you're doing something, and your time is your most valuable asset.
Yeah.
You got to put that to the max. You got to maximize the productivity of your time. And the only way that you can do it is by buying back your own time, by asking other people to do certain things for you that either you're not good at or don't align with your big 5.
That's huge. So, sir, what do you offer for your business as far as, people at different levels, right? The new entrepreneur, how can we best get into what you do and the things that you offer? What are those things?
Sure. So we have.
I just want to know. I'm so curious.
Yeah. No. So we have, some info products and group coaching programs and done for you things. But the primary theme of what we do comes down to 2 things. And I touched on it at the beginning, but it comes down to identity and structure.
Okay.
And every entrepreneur who's growing their business eventually will need systems and structure to support the growth of that business. So we build that structure inside of the company. We help to make sure that people are clear on what they need to be doing. We help to make sure you're bringing in the right people. We help to create the infrastructure for getting things done, like the operating system for the business, right? We help to build those processes and make sure that everything is running like clockwork. And then in some cases, we automate all of that for people. Which is great. So that's like all the external stuff, right? That's all the structural stuff. And then the internal stuff is I firmly believe that in order for any entrepreneur to stay in control of their company as it continues to grow, they need to make shifts from being an entrepreneur to being a CEO. And being a CEO who starts orchestrating the company, right? An entrepreneur is the person who has the idea, who has the grit, who has the hustle to get something going and get it off the ground, and they're super passionate, they're solving a problem, and they're, finding customers and stuff like that. The CEO is the one who's starting to build these systems and to think of themselves as the conductor of the orchestra, right? You want to make sure that you have the right people in the right seats, and all of those people are playing to their strengths. And so there's a mindset shift that needs to happen as well. While we're putting all this structure in place, it's okay, how do we get you as an entrepreneur to that level where you can start running the company like a CEO would? So we have several different ways of doing that, but essentially that's what we do.
Yeah, and I heard that, and maybe you're the one that worked with Russell on that, but I heard about the shift that he had to make because he was doing everything. He's kind of the guy that was just doing everything, and he had to shift to that CEO mindset.
Definitely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Everybody does.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I'll say here, I don't think this is like a huge thing right now, but something to consider is there are some people who don't want to make that shift from entrepreneur to CEO.
Yeah. Good point.
Okay? And that is okay. Right? Like, okay. So like, think about it. Like we're an entrepreneur, we start a business, we get things moving and everything, but like, I'm like, I don't want to be CEO. Fine. Find somebody who does.
Yeah.
Right? Like you created this massive opportunity. It doesn't mean you're obligated to be the CEO of that company. Some people want to become the CEO of that company. Like Russell wants to be the CEO.
Yeah.
Right? He's doing amazing stuff. Some people don't. So that's cool too. Like, don't do it then.
Yeah. That's that identity, right? That identity you're talking about.
Exactly. And that's coming back to like choosing what is your identity. Is my identity an entrepreneur and I just want to stay there and do entrepreneur things? Okay, cool. Then let me get this thing going. And one of the key people for my system that I need to bring in is going to be a CEO who's going to run the thing.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, sir. And I got such big things happening, like literally on the very immediate horizon with, I work for full-time for Amazon, and, they've connected with me, and they were looking for a veteran who worked at Amazon who was interested in entrepreneurship. That's
that sounds like you.
I'm like, I wear all three hats, like literally. And so,
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a huge opportunity. So I'll be connecting with you on that, sir. But again,
Cool.
Thank you so much, James. Again, I really appreciate you coming on to the summit, sir. And any last parting words of advice, sir? And how can they best get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So last piece of advice, I would just say the thing that, and this is one of the reasons why I love what you're doing, Larry,
Yes,
is
sir.
I think one of the things that will cripple any entrepreneur or any person, let's just even go there, and then entrepreneurs are a special kind of person, but is feeling like you're going alone, right?
Yes,
Where you're like, oh man, like I'm, and especially in your guys' case, like I'm out of the military, I had this built-in network, right, of people who understood everything that I understand and all this other stuff, and there's value in that. There's a tremendous amount of value in that. There's a tremendous amount of like certainty that helps get the job done and everything. And then you leave and you're like, oh man, like now what? Like, where is everybody? And I think connecting with other people like you, like the other veterans who are up to these things.
Yeah.
I can't over emphasize how important that is, right? You need to have that community.
Huge.
It's incredibly huge. It is like, I think it is the most important thing, right? Jim Rohn said, you become like the 5 people that you hang around with the most. And I know in my life that's been true. Like I made a very deliberate choice probably 6 or 7 years ago. I was like, I am going to like curate and cultivate a peer group that is on the same path as me. And almost there's nothing else that I have done that has made a bigger difference to me than that. Then who am I surrounding myself with? And it doesn't have to be all in person, right? Like you and I are not in the same place, but like we're connecting, right? How am I connecting with all these other people? And so I would say for anyone listening here, the number one piece of advice I would have is don't go this alone. This is not a solo journey, and it's not supposed to be a solo journey. And you're not going to get any like medal of honor for doing this on your own, because the truth is you can't do it on your own anyway.
Yeah.
And you got to have other people in your corner. You got to have other people who are like up to the same thing, who you can bounce ideas off of, who are going to push you and lift you up and like help you feel like your dreams are possible and everything. And that's like, so that's the most important thing. So I just hope that everybody really hears that and takes that to heart.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to connect with me directly, you can go to my site, jamespfriel.com. That's F-R-I-E-L. And we've got, free downloads and trainings and really funny podcast called Just the Tips. Yeah, I'd love to connect. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, sir. And, not too many of these interviews I've done where I stopped and was taking notes. So that's how important of an interview this was to me, sir. So I appreciate it. All right. Thank you so much, James. I really do appreciate you, sir. And
thanks,
to all my fellow veterans, I'll see you on the high ground. Hello, my fellow veterans. Thank you so much for watching the interview. I hope you got a lot of value out of that interview. Definitely go back and take a pen and paper and take some notes, right? Go back and watch that interview again. At the top of the hour, we will have another interview. And now with all the speakers that we have at the Veterans Online Summit, a majority of them have provided what we call a free lead magnet where you can learn more about them and some kind of education for you. But here's what I want you all to do. Here's what I want you all to do. Number one, go to Facebook group and add yourself to Funnel Vets, FUNNELVETS. I want you guys to become a part of Funnel Vets, okay? And all it is a group of military veterans that are interested in online entrepreneurship, mainly with ClickFunnels, okay? And the second thing I want you to do is if you're ready to go all in, which I hope you are, if you're ready to go all in, kind of the first initial steps that you can take, there's a couple of things that are very key, okay? There's 2 books in particular that I really want you to get right off the bat. And I'll get you the affiliate link for those books. But the first one is Dotcom Secrets, and this is the digital online marketing guide. Okay, it's like the Bible for digital online marketing and learning how to sell online. Okay, and that's by Russell Brunson of ClickFunnels. Then you have his second book, Expert Secrets. This is an amazing book, Expert Secrets, that I want you guys to pick up. And this is teaches you how to get paid for your advice. Okay. And you're going to learn all about that, using persuasion to sell your product or service. Again, this is called Expert Secrets. Again, that's by Russell Brunson. Now, when you're looking to scale your business, you're going to be looking for a book called The Dream 100. This is revolutionary. I can't even tell you how amazing this book is. I'll get you the link for that. Okay. All 3 of these books, these are like kind of the main books here. All 3 of them are free plus shipping, right? You're just going to pay for some shipping. The other thing that I want you to consider getting, another book from ClickFunnels. Again, they provide a lot, right? But what they provide is something called the Cookbook. This is free as well. You just pay the shipping costs. But in the Cookbook, for when you're learning how you get the ClickFunnels software, I'm going to get you a link and get you 2 weeks free to use the software. And when you use that software, this has everything you need to know about building online software or building a sales funnel, okay, and the different types of funnels that you can create. Okay, this is step by step, and it's called the Funnel Hackers Cookbook. Okay, again, that's free plus shipping. All right, and then also my good buddy, if you're interested in learning how to write persuasively, again, if you're interested in learning how to write persuasively, Jim Edwards, who's a speaker on the summit, this book's not even available yet, but it's going to be available, and I know he'll want to get that too. He's a huge supporter of veterans. He gave me this book, and that's Copywriting Secrets, okay? Again, it's a lot, but I'm trying to get you guys the stuff that's necessary that will propel you, okay, over the next person who doesn't have this amazing material, okay? These are like foundational books. These are foundational books, okay? Now, if you only could get 2 books, only 2, again, you'd get these 2. If you just, kind of low on money, you have to. I'm a freaking officer. That's command authority right there. I'm giving you an order that you have to get these 2 books, okay? Definitely get these 2 books to start, and then moving forward from there, look to get the other books. Now, lastly, there's something called the One Funnel Away Challenge. And it's a 30-day challenge where you are going to commit to yourself about an hour a day, hour to 2 hours a day to learning ClickFunnels, okay? And you will have 3 amazing coaches, Russell Brunson, Julie Stowen, and Stephen Larson, who's a military officer himself back in the day, okay? And they'll be coaching you through the One Funnel Away Challenge. With that, it's $100, right? It's $100 for this thing, and you'll get all the trainings every single day, videos and whatnot online, and you'll get this box that will come in the mail to you. And this box is full of a ton of goodies, okay? One thing that's included in is this 30 days book. You suddenly lose everything in 30 days. What would you do? And they took 30 of the top ClickFunnels experts who use the software for different types of things. And they said, you have 30 days and all you have is the ClickFunnels software. What are you going to do to get back on your feet? Okay. It's 30 different case studies of completely different things that you can do to get back on your feet with in the online marketing world. And with the One Funnel Away Challenge comes the workbook, okay? So again, just to recap, this is the One Funnel Away Challenge is something that I've done that almost every funnel hacker has done. It's $100 and it lasts 30 days. I'll get you the link for that, and that's something that you can check out. But again, these are the 2 books that you want to start off with, okay? Dotcom Secrets and Expert Secrets. All right, immerse yourself in ClickFunnels. Just immerse yourself in ClickFunnels, and that's how you do it, starting off with those books. And I hope that's going to, I know it's going to be really helpful for you. I know it's going to be really helpful for you. Again, if you want to go all in, this is how you do it, okay? You know how you do it? You take out your credit card, you take out your debit card, and you pay for it, right? Because all of us have, before you, have done the very same thing, and you're going to be asking your potential clients to take out their wallet, and you got to be comfortable doing the same thing, okay? That's how it works in this game, and it takes a lot of hard work, but I'm excited to be there with you every freaking step of the way, okay? And lastly, I have some huge opportunities for you. I am an Inner Circle partner of Tier 5, the Tier 5 software, meaning I have the ability to sell software, and I also have the ability to create partnerships on a limited basis so that they have the ability to sell software under me. So if that interests you, I'm going to give you some free software just to check it out, to check out our product line, and to be able to, whatever you decide to do, if you decide to create online courses, if you decide to write a book, if you decide to do digital marketing, if you decide to be a life coach, if you can add software to your offer, you make that offer even more irresistible, okay? Again, you make that offer more irresistible to where clients will want to take up that offer and give their money to you, okay? And so I'm going to give you some opportunity to check out the Tier 5 software, and I hope that is really helpful to you guys, okay? So again, you have to go all in. That's all I'm asking. You may not believe in yourself sometimes. You'll doubt yourself, but the one thing you will never do is you'll never give up on yourself. Cool? All right, on to the next interview. I appreciate you guys.